Quick note, what I wanted to say is that this video is a little long and some people might not watch the whole thing, but I would like to get your feedback on some of the stuff I've said and maybe if you have experienced them. Because I know some people watch the first half, they'll watch a quarter of it, and they'll just get little pieces here and there, but I would like to know if you've suffered from any of these issues or have experienced them and kind of like what you did to kind of make it go away. And it would help this thread or this video because you can comment on them, and I know people who watch this video can look at the comments because that really does help people. It's like a forum, but it's on a video. Okay, here's the video. Hey, how's it going, everybody? It's Ryan going to talk about the title, which is why I have to quit deadlifting. So before I get in deep into kind of what I'm going to talk about, I want you to understand that the context of this information has a lot to do specifically with me. And this whole channel is really my experience. And one thing to consider about my experience is that I am a professional trainer. I work with a lot of people. And I've also been training for a pretty long period of time. Not seriously with the barbell, but just working out in general. And I've been in fitness for a very long time. So I have a good sense of human anatomy, physiology, and myself. So I hope that the person that's watching this video can kind of consider some of my background as well as sort of my thoughts as a way of deciding what I'm going to do with my own workouts and programming. But on to why I have to quit deadlifting. And this past year I've been learning a lot of different things when it comes to deadlifting technique, squats, bench press, and deadlift. And I have this big aggressive goal to hit 600 pounds by the end of the year. And I may just have to kind of put that on the back burner, or at least kind of, I know I'll get there, it's just how fast will I get there. Setting these goals help us grow, it helps push us, and it creates urgency. But some goals are pushing us faster than we should, or faster than what is considered healthy. And what you'll know is what's considered healthy will be totally based on you as an individual. Now, I have been having this problem with my left shoulder and my bench press. I've been bitching about my bench press lately on a few videos if you've been watching my channel, and it's become very apparent that my left shoulder is starting to fatigue. It's like just holding my arm out here, just carrying this tape here and holding it out is a little tiring. It's kind of weird. I mean, I'm a strong guy. Why is this hard for me to hold up? Did I tear anything? I don't know. I just know that there's something not right. And then over the course of the year of watching YouTube videos and following other powerlifters and listening and using my education, Kelly Starrett videos, my own education as a certified trainer, we're helping other people's injuries, my past injuries, and just learning from different people, is that if I keep going in the path I'm going, trying to pull this deadlift, because I'm making great progress in my deadlift, it's probably going to lead to really unintended consequences. And it seems to be that, ironically or interestingly, my issue is my shoulders. Weak shoulders, weaker upper body, not a proper stabilized platform to pull and hold 600 pounds or handle high volumes of deadlifting. My lower body can tolerate perfectly fine. So with that said, I want to tell you a little bit about the clues that have happened. Let me show you this video of me deadlifting on my second powerlifting meet, 551 second attempt. So take a look, and I'll play it right now. Now I'll play it twice. You can see my left shoulder sink down a little bit. I don't know if that really means anything or if that looks any different to you, but I don't know if that means anything to me, but it's just something I'm aware of because it was my final attempt. I didn't go for my third attempt because I felt something happen in my left shoulder. It felt weird. I felt like I almost tore a subscap or my teres major, or basically some of the rotator cuff-ish muscles, maybe the long head of the tricep, who knows, that got yanked out. And I felt kind of weird, something I've never felt before, which is why I didn't decide to go on my third attempt. And then, so that's never been an issue, but I remember watching Elliot Hulse video with George Leeman. I learned some great stuff from that guy, and for someone who's great, like George Leeman is an amazing deadlifter, very strong guy, and you're George Leeman, you want to deadlift a lot because you're good at it. And same with me, I'm not a George Leeman by any means. I'm not huge, and I'm not at any scale of any huge lifter, but I'm good at deadlifting when compared to everything else, and it's something I like to do a lot of, and it seems I can tolerate it to a point. And this has unintended consequences. And in that video, I think it was, I'm gonna find the video. I'll put the link in the description. It's a really good video. It's actually surprisingly good because it's Elliot Hulse and George Leeman having a conversation while they're training, talking about accessory movements for the deadlift. Anyways, George says that he tore his rear delt, or he irritated his rear delt. And I'm not sure if it was deadlifting, but I'm pretty sure it is. I can see how someone can irritate their rear delt or pull their rear delt deadlifting too much. And I'm beginning to feel it. Another video where I started with Jeremy Hamilton, Omar Isaf, where they talked about rounding your upper back, the advanced technique of kind of what it does. Artificially shortens your torso, bringing the bar closer to your hips and sort of pushing your lats down into your front pockets, so that way you can bring the bar closer in. It was a technique change I made a few months ago, and as a technique change I made prior to that 551 PR deadlift on that meet, on my second meet of this year. And it's a technique I've been using a lot in all my lifting and all my competition style deadlifts. And I really believe that this is kind of contributing to sort of my issue. In the past, I've had some levator scapula strains from excessive deadlifting, and this is like last year. Sometimes I'd feel it, this irritation here, and you would think that, you know, the deadlifting a lot would build my traps. I have okay traps. I mean, they're not like huge, but definitely they're built. But it's not whether your traps are built. It's really more about kind of if they are balanced to support the rest of your structure for certain movements. So consider that. Although my traps are finally well developed, I have a pretty good back. However, in the case of my overhanded grip of my left hand and my underhanded grip of my right hand, I'm creating this imbalance where my trap is getting stretched out, my levator is getting overworked. One of the problems I'm starting to have is I'm having trouble keeping my arm overhead. I put my arm above my head, and it's almost like it's hard to keep my hand up. And it's almost like a telltale sign of a lot of issues. Now, when I say telegraph and scale a workout or scale a program or scale my own body and train, you have to consider that this is not that big of a deal. This is something I'll recover from perfectly fine. But because I'm training hard and I'm pushing myself, if you start adding load and you start adding speed and you start adding volume, you're going to cause an issue when there's a irritation or dysfunction in the system. It's almost like basically like redlining a car with a tire that's not fully inflated the way it should, or driving it very far for long distances. Sure, from point A to point B, from work to home, not a big deal, but if you decide to drive from San Francisco to New York, you're probably going to have some issues. And that's kind of what to consider the problem I'm having. And another thing too, where I was thinking about other people's style of deadlifting, where technique is a little bit more, I guess, better in my opinion, it seems like, is like Mike Teixeira. And he kind of cues the lats and pulls them in to keep the bar in the right spot, closer to the body. And I remember Johnny Candido talking about how Mike Teixeira has a pretty neutral upper back when he deadlifts. He doesn't overly round his back like who's an example that I watched? Tom Martin, who does a very heavily rounded upper back when he deadlifts. And that's definitely something I could work on to keep those shoulders back. So with all that, I hope you got all that. And you know, again, a lot of what we learn is through experience, because we are in a different population of people when it comes to powerlifting, a relatively small population, and we want to keep doing what we're doing. The issue now is kind of like, what do we do? Well, let me tell you what I'm going to do. I'm a professional trainer. I work with a lot of people, and I'm pretty good at training myself when it comes to these type of things. Definitely going to spend more time doing upper body and shoulder work. Now, I really don't want to stop deadlifting. I'm probably going to deadlift still, but I can't be going for anything above 85%. Anything that's basically going to cause my shoulder to kind of sink forward and down. Now, although that's not necessarily a bad thing, especially when you're built for it, but then again, the problem is too much volume in that position. So my shoulders are rounding forward like this. So I need to get my shoulders back, get my shoulders into my... I need to deadlift like I used to deadlift and not focus on rounding my upper back so much, which means I'm going to develop new muscles, learning how to keep the rear delts in a better spot, allowing my rhomboids to work harder, and also my lats to work harder. However, it's going to increase my bar path length, but that will affect my ability to reach the 600-pound goal. Perfect timing. This is a perfect time for this situation because I'm starting to be able to squat now with less problems. So I'm going to be able to maintain my leg strength by trying to maintain doing more squats instead of doing all the deadlifts I was doing. So I'm going to have to change my technique from rounding the upper back to to pulling the shoulders back, and consider that I'm not against rounding the upper back, but consider that some of my deadlifting programs, especially over the past 3 weeks, have been pretty excessive. You know, I deadlift 3 days a week. I have one heavy day, I have a speed day, and I have a pause day. I basically have 2 heavy days because I have a block pull day, and then I have a day where I try to do 95%, 90%, and it's, you know, it's wearing on me. And now the shoulder is freaking, it's not in a bad place, but definitely the bench press is heavy. I've never felt 225 feel so heavy. I'll have a video coming up later of a workout that I did. Deadlifted like 475 for 5 reps, which is a PR for me. I did a bunch of 475, just some speed deadlifts, trying to get faster. But when I benched, I had a problem. So anyways, I don't know if you made it to this point at the end of the video. I hope you got some information from it and you got some takeaways. I have to stop deadlifting. I'm going to squat more. Going to do more bodybuilder type movements, at least for the next week or the next 2 weeks, until I feel better again. Because the thing is that the problem with this, an issue like this, when you have a weakness, I'm going to make a video on this later. When you have a weakness or pain, it's a sign. And if you keep going, you're going to be headed towards something catastrophic. Now, that's not the case if you're a beginner or you're just, you know, you're taking your time and you're not pushing hard. But because I'm being so aggressive with trying to hit 600 pounds, I'm pushing myself and I'm pushing the volume, and I'm going to take some risks. And if there is any hiccups and hitches in the path, chances are that you're going to have to slow down. Not that you can't get to your goal, it's just more that you're going to have to make better, you're going to have to make a little bit more conservative decisions. So I think I can really get to my 600-pound goal by the end of the year if I just said, oh, this is what I'm going to do no matter what. But then what would it be worth the cost? And it probably isn't, you know. So I've got to take a little bit more conservative approach. It doesn't mean I'm not going to try to do it. I'm going to try to hit 600 pounds. It's probably more looking like 580, 585 with a stiff bar. I don't know if I'm going to be able to touch a deadlift bar. It depends on, you know, whether I get set up with Jesse Burdick and I start training with them. I got to figure out the shoulder thing. Anyways, thanks for watching. This video's got a little longer than I wanted to. Hope you got some stuff. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys on the next video.